administration ran the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They did something called the credit card late fee rule. And so that basically capped the fee that banks could charge their borrowers at $8. And that's down from about $32 that it was at the time, the prevailing rate. And so what big credit card companies like Bread and Synchrony, and to a lesser degree Cap One, Citigroup, and Barclays said was like, a lot of our customers are subprime. A lot of them rack up these late fees. And as a result, we're going to get killed by this. And so what they did was they decided to announce that they were going to jack up their interest rates, which you reported first, Gabrielle, to as high as 36%, and on average 10 percentage points higher than what general purpose cards would charge. And they also added things, sneaky little fees for things like receiving a paper statement in the mail suddenly costs $2.99. A lot of people didn't notice that. And so as a result, people were getting charged higher. Now, at the same time, what happened in April of this year was that in the courts, the industry was successful at killing this CFPB late fee rule. In other words, it wasn't going to happen. And so the question that analysts put to the CEOs of Bread and Synchrony were, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold on to these? And they answered in a very straightforward manner last month in conference calls for their Q1 earnings was, we're holding on to these enhanced fees and this higher interest rate. And at the same time, we acknowledge and celebrate the fact that the CFPB credit card late fee rule is dead.
So now they're getting the late fees and the higher interest rates that they had implemented to kind of offset the profits that they were losing. Obviously, this is good for the credit card companies, but it can be terrible for the consumer. These retail credit cards can be some of the hardest retail credit card debt to get out of. They carry a higher interest rate, like you said, as high as 36%. The average is about 30.4 as of September. It's about 20%, right? Usually for a regular credit card.
Yeah, and this is per bank rate, I believe.
Yeah. So if you, let's say you go to Nordstrom or Macy's and you rack up a $1,200 bill and you've got a 30% interest rate, give or take, you make the minimum payment on that, $35 a month. It can take you about 7 years to pay that off.
Yeah.
And you're going to end up spending $1,650 in interest. And that's more than your original debt. And that's not to mention if you happen to be late on one of those payments too. A lot of the times, the people who are getting retail credit cards are younger consumers. They don't have strong credit. Sometimes this could be the first credit card that somebody gets, right? Because the standards are lower, which is why the credit card interest rates are higher.
Up to half of the people who signed on for these cards, applied for these cards, had either no credit or were subprime credit. A lot of times there are problems with these retail cards, and among them is people don't really realize they're actually signing up for a credit card. They think in some instances in complaints to the CFPB,